Okay, good morning everyone, or good evening wherever you are, afternoon. My name is Ben McGraw. I'm the Senior Director of Industry Solutions here at TIBCO Spotfire. I am joined today by Benjamin Spiegel. He is the Director of Search Operations at Catalyst. Today we're going to be talking about combining paid and organic and social and earned media data to drive deeper insights with Spotfire. So as far as this webcast, when it comes to digital, there's really no shortage of data, as a lot of us are learning. And so everything is really being measured and recorded. However, in many cases, it really stops there. And so the data gets stored and really nobody uses it. So it's becoming more and more apparent around digital marketing. So since the rise of big data, more and more organizations have begun to analyze and evaluate their data, but it's often really kept in silos and not and only accessed by a channel-by-channel basis. So today we're actually going to be exploring a variety of search data and demonstrate how Spotfire can be used to build illustrative dashboards, drive insights, and refine paid and organic recommendations for more effective content strategies. So, like I said, I'm joined today by Benjamin Spiegel. He is actually, like I said, the Director of Search Operations at Catalyst. And they're a leading search engine marketing firm, and really, really lucky to have them here today. And they deliver digital marketing solutions for Fortune 500 and Fortune 1000 organizations. And so Ben defines the search process and creates and enhances the agency's search offerings and oversees teams of search practitioners who deliver strategic counsel and tactical input for search initiatives. And upon first joining Catalyst in 2011, he held the position of Organic Search Director and worked with clients in a range of industries, including luxury, mobile, and CPG. And he's actually a digital marketing veteran with 12 years of experience in the field, which is it's pretty rare given this is such a new area. He was the founder of NXFX. They are actually a creative consultancy company focused on the development of customer-driven online technologies and paid and organic marketing initiatives. So as I mentioned, Catalyst, they're a search agency of record for many of the world's top companies. They have offices in Boston, New York, Chicago, Seattle, Toronto, and Montreal. So again, very happy to have Ben and Catalyst here. So I just wanted to talk a little bit about digital marketing analytics. And so we've been working more and more in this space because a lot of companies are coming to us because of our visualization-based data discovery tool, and it really lends itself to analyzing these silos of data, as I mentioned before. And as you can see here, we find that a lot of these companies, the data is really dispersed. So being able to do self-service data discovery and being able to mash up all that data is an important component of what's needed. And really, like in this day and age, we need to be able to leverage this digital marketing data to attain new customers and retain these existing customers by improving the loyalty. And search, to kind of go back to this concept, the reason why we really wanted to do this webcast is if you think of digital marketing, and if you think of we all do this, if you're going to buy a product or you're interested in a service, typically the first thing we all do today is we go to Google or we go to Yahoo and we type that in. So being able to optimize that is an extremely important thing for companies. And also just going back to really digital marketing, it's really important to understand campaigns and how to optimize programs around various different campaigns because things are evolving so quickly. And so this is why companies like Catalyst are very good at providing this information. And then also just communication. So there's all this data, you're bringing it together, and then you want to communicate this and being able to collaborate easily is very, very important. So these are our value drivers with Spotfire. Again, the reason why Catalyst decided to use Spotfire provide this visibility into the unknown. You're going to see this in some of the dashboards that they've created that are really, really interesting. We also then take that and we can provide them the ability to take that information and then become really the fastest actionable insight, to really do something based on that data that they're seeing really quickly. Self-service data discovery, pretty much, if you're a marketing guy like me or Ben or whoever, you're able to take this information that you know, and you can do self-service data discovery on it and create your own dashboards very, very easily without the need of IT. And then companies like the Fortune 500 and 1,000 companies, a lot of them are using Spotfire as an enterprise platform for analysis of data, visualization-based data discovery. These are some of our differentiators. Ben will get into this and why they actually decided to use us. Provide this dimension-free data exploration environment. He'll show some of the visualizations that they've created in dashboards. Again, data mashup, you're talking about all these peripheralization of all these various different data sources that are exploding, and you need to be able to bring all this together and understand it and bring it into one location, and then do predictive analytics based on that to figure out the proper campaigns for the future, and to actually collaborate on the results in also an enterprise class environment. So obviously a big part of digital marketing is unstructured data. So Spotfire handles structured data very well, but we also handled unstructured data extremely well too. So we have an integration with TIBCO. For those of you interested in this, we can provide more information on that, and so you can gain actual insights, as I talked about before, from structured data and unstructured data, such as like some of these digital marketing, digital data sources that are listed here. It's completely up to you as what you want to do as far as like the unstructured content. So at this point, now that I kind of covered the platform and what we're doing in digital marketing analytics, I'm going to kick it over to Ben, and he's really going to be talking about search and really getting into that. So Ben, I'm going to pass it over to you now.
Awesome. Thank you very much, Ben. So first of all, I wanted to thank the team at TIBCO and Spotfire for the help of putting all this together and giving us a chance to share kind of what we do and how we use Spotfire on a daily basis. And since we all come from very different backgrounds, I wanted to take a step back and kind of explain some of the core components of search marketing, especially the way the digital landscape is changing. We are pretty much defined into 3 different types of media, and this is a Forrester research study that is a very simple visualization of it. But on the first group, it's kind of the own brand assets, which is our .com, our blog, kind of some of the different Web 2.0 channels, such as Twitter profiles. And really the role of these channels is to engage on an ongoing basis with the consumer, providing a resource. So from a search perspective, those are our core assets we're trying to build visibility to. So if it is driving through organic or paid search, visitors to the brand sites. The second type of media we're dealing with a lot within search is the paid media. And there are a wide variety and flavors of it, but in the kind of top highest level, it's display, paid search, and kind of media buys. So this really helps the brands to get a further reach and be visible in areas where they usually don't have the ability to play. And on the third side, it's the earned media. It's really what we call today the social landscape. So it's the Facebook conversations, it's conversations that's happening on other social networks, on these community properties, conversations on YouTube. And all 3 of them coming from very different backgrounds. That means they're all structured in a very different way. And what that results in is that they have different types of data sources that are driving them, and the data comes in different formats. And really the challenge for us is to say, how do we get out of this siloed approach and go and really being able to say, we can deliver and report in one of them. So the way it's currently set up is that and I'm trying to get to the next slide, but the way we have it set up here is that we connect these different search data sources and find out how can we connect with them and how can we collect this data. So kind of to visualize that, we have here the different kind of companies we work with. There are different ranking companies, paid media outlets, some consumer insights such as Compete and ComScore, social media engagement such as how is our YouTube or Facebook profile performing. And they're all coming back in very different data formats. And for most search agencies, this really presents a challenge when it comes to insights and driving information. So the different types of data we're looking at, for example, for organic search is rankings, site performance in terms of click-through rate, crawl rates. When we're looking about the paid assets, we're looking at what's our cost per click, what's our visibility, what's our quality. Then we're looking at audience and performance data. So who are our consumers? Who is engaging with our content? And then that even gets meshed up with some third-party data that talks more to audience and gives us some deeper insight into who is actually connecting with us. And today, or yesterday, organic was in one silo. There was our Google Analytics data, our ranking data from different sources, and our website performance data. And the next one was our paid data, which was our AdWords, Bing, Facebook ads. And then there were the social kind of silo, and that was very much driven by Twitter feeds, social listening tools. And all of these three had great insights, but to combine the insights and deliver this to a brand, it required a massive exchange of VLOOKUPs and Excel sheets. And for us, that really didn't solve our issues. We had, especially dealing with large-scale brands, the amount of data and the activity on social networks is just too large for Excel or other smaller database solutions to handle. And again, when you work with manufacturing brands where you have hundreds of separate units, it becomes really time-consuming to compile all these different Excel sheets into one. And that's where we reached out to TIBCO and said, how can you help us solve this? Nowadays, the brands came to us and said, we are more aware of search. We want to know more about how we're spending. We want to know how should we be planning. And we also want it in real time. So we get asked by partner agencies, what was the impact of a TV commercial on search? And in the old days, it would require a lot of Excel work, exporting data, and you weren't just able to deliver actionable insights in a good amount of time. So, and then again, for us, it is scale. Working with over 200 brands, everything we do has to be in a certain automated manner, and it has to be scalable. So the way we set it up internally is we first work with our brands and define where are you getting your data from? What are the data sources? Then together with TIBCO, we build adapters and API connections to collect this data and being able to say, okay, we need Google data, we need Compete data, we need analytics data. Then all this data through the server solution gets aggregated and stored into very specific tables, which then our analysts connect to directly with Spotfire. So there's no more intermediary layer where we go in and say, we need to export this from Excel, put it through a VLOOKUP, export it, re-import. Nowadays, every analyst has the ability to easily dive into this data and provide actionable insights almost on brand demand. So to take one step back on how we really use it, primary, we have a massive database that has a large number of tables collecting different levels of details from different sources. So for us, it was very important that a junior level analyst can go in and analyze any data set they want. So ease of use was for us one of the critical factors. We are search people, we understand algorithms, we are not mathematicians. So for us, it was very important that we easily can analyze the data, and I'm going to later showcase some of that. The second one was dashboards, being able to deliver internally and externally intelligent dashboards, that provide the ability to roll up to somebody who is a regional lead, say, how are my brick and mortar stores in 2 or 3 different states doing, being able to provide these roll-ups and show this insight, again, something that Excel just couldn't handle. And then the third phase is research and planning. It's really using predictive algorithms, analytics to look at trends and evaluate where do we need to be in the future. What is the behavior telling us? And this goes a lot back to the predictive capabilities, which are, again, very easy to use without a math background. So here are some of the just key points really. VLOOKUP and Excel used to be our day-to-day, and we just don't have to do it anymore. And which that really means is we're spending much less time in QAing the data because it comes directly from the database or the data provider. There is no need anymore because there are no more copy and paste errors, broken formulas to scale. And the other kind of real gain we had from it is just better products and better insights. So I wanted to walk through a couple of examples on how we use it in our day-to-day work. And one of the big ones that for us was a big performance gain was the way we operate. So here on the screen, we see a Spotfire presentation in the top half that shows us what's the average time we used to spend on a task type. So how much time do we spend on presentations, creation, meetings, research, and revisions? Internally, we do a lot of performance and time tracking to be able to analyze where the efficiencies. So what we've done is before we rolled out Spotfire across the teams, we did a time survey and determined how much time do we spend on delivery. After the rollout, we went back and we looked at how did our behavior change? Where did we achieve time savings and where do we deliver more value? And one of the things that I love to highlight is this visualization that shows us in gray was before Spotfire, blue is with Spotfire, and kind of see how our time spent has adjusted and how we, for example, on client presentations, we spend more time now because our clients and brands are more interested. They're more engaged. They see the level of detail and the questions we can provide. Same thing in creation. We're providing much more insights with Spotfire. We are much more oriented towards actionable items. However, on all the time-consuming tasks, such as QA, research, and revisions, being as interconnected as we are with it, we have now the ability to deliver much more efficient and spend the time where it really matters, and quality. So next, I would like to showcase a couple of dashboards and the way we use Spotfire on a day-to-day in the world of search. So the first example I really want to show goes back to the variety of data sources we use and how we pull them together to report on the corporate level. And it's very important for us to kind of emphasize scale, that when you work with a brick and mortar business and you have 700 retail locations, how do you roll this up? How do you report on different sale of units and categories? So with Spotfire and the ability to pull these things together, we have now the ability to provide dashboards on the brand and category level where we can easily, our analysts, go in and analyze performance on how are we doing with banners, CPC, CRM, email, social media, organic, referral, and even RSS. Being able to pull this information from sources such as Google Analytics, Compete, ComScore, AdWords, and mesh it all up into one visualization gives us a lot of insights on how our consumers are behaving and how we can better affect the way we work with them. So another thing is delivery. Traditionally, the old standard used to be spreadsheets. A large amount of spreadsheets where key phrase research would be conducted. We would deliver to brands. Here are the key terms in search we want to be visible for, and here are some facts. And this was what we see on the screen here was the default way we used to deliver. Today, when we analyze and deliver, it goes much more visual. Our analysts have access to Spotfire dashboards where they can go in and can define what type of key phrases am I looking for? what is the average spend? What is the trend of these key phrases? Connecting to Google Trend data, we can highlight now, here are some really rising terms. Here are some terms that are declining. Pulling in data from sources such as Google Analytics tells us, are consumers engaging with this? Are they converting or are they not? We can define on where should we focus our organic because paid is not working well because we don't have the right content to win. The ability that Spotfire gives our analysts to filter down on key phrases and decisions is extremely helpful for us to be able to say, based on the Twitter feed, which key phrases are most active on social, being able to mesh it up with sentiment data and being able to say, this term has a good sentiment or negative sentiment. Here we really want to play, and these terms you might not want to play. There's a high negative social sentiment. Again, the ability to easily mesh up these data sources on the fly is really what makes us better today. And since we're not all that familiar with search data, I decided that I just want to really kind of showcase how an analyst without barely any Spotfire experience can go in and just show how easy it is. So this example is, as we all know from search, it's simple traffic data we receive from a source such as Google Analytics. It's merged by brand, it has some traffic information, channel information, and previously this export is a raw export from Google Analytics, and usually you would take it and combine it into multiple Excel sheets and then determine what is your traffic or your traffic change. Today it's literally as simple as going in and saying, what are my visits by my unit? What is my traffic by medium? Where do I get my most traffic? The ability for an analyst to say, I want to look at the engagement. So which of my sources is engaging well versus bad? We can immediately see we have a high bounce rate in these channels, a low bounce rate here. And this is across 30 brands. Being able to pull these fast insights in literally minutes is really what we value most about Spotfire. And the ability to take this dashboard and say, I want to share this with my client. I want to send it to my account manager and then collaborate on it. The ability to say easily, I want to look more at this. I want to go and I want to see, has that changed historically? So with literally 3 clicks, they can go now in and say, how has that medium been growing? How has organic search changed from 2010 to today? Saying visits, saying looking at engagement. Just easy, on-the-fly analysis without having to go in a deep dive, exporting Excel sheets and juggling a lot of documents. This is really where we have new analysts starting. They come in and they're excited to work with this. They're excited to have all this data at their fingertips. And just to these examples, somebody would ask, which brand is this for? Can we look at this by brand? Within minutes, we can look at it now by brand. So this is really where for us the strength comes in this real-time analytics. It directly connects to our database. Real-time information ready for the analyst whenever they need it. So I hope this kind of gave you a little bit of a better idea on how we today use it within our organization and how easy it is really for us now to get better insights.
Okay, that was great, Ben. So if you guys have any questions, bottom right-hand corner of your screen there, there's a little Q&A box. If you guys, we have plenty of time to answer your questions about how Callus is using Spotfire. So please do that. Okay, Ben, possible to give a concrete example of how this has helped a client optimize their strategy? How did the client change their marketing as a result?
Yes, so here's one great example. These are the current terms a client is bidding on and paid as well as organic. These are the terms where their strategy group and we determined they need to be visible for. And immediately when they looked at this, they said, why is all this red here? What does that mean? And in this case, the red really defines when consumers arriving with these terms on the brand sites, they are bouncing. That means you do not have content that is engaging for the consumer. So we then have the ability to go in and say, okay, let us actually highlight all this content where we're saying that it's really not what the consumer is looking for. And we produced a list of it that they use then to build their content strategy around. So we say, these are your top, the 50 worst performing terms. We exported them and worked with their content group to determine what do these key phrases, what's the intent for these. And as you can see on the left-hand side, we group everything by consumer intent. So depending on the category the brand is in, it might be research, review. So there, for example, a lot of the terms are review and research related. So reviews for a certain hairdryer. But they run on the term, but they did not have the sufficient content. So the consumers did not engage and they abandoned their purchase trip. So it's the ability to look at large sets of data. For example, most brand sites generate traffic for 5,000 plus terms. And the ability to filter these terms by multidimensional data sets, such as what's the size of the price, the overall interest. Are they connecting with you? Are they connecting with your competition? And then how well are you performing for these themes? Because we all know, just because the consumer ends up on your site doesn't mean that we answer the consumer's question.
Okay, great. There was an analysis of structured and unstructured data. How are you guys handling unstructured data analysis, Ben? Sort of more from a technical perspective in your solution here?
From a technical perspective, we utilize a lot of different APIs that help us with unstructured analysis. So we use a couple of sentiment vendors where we give terms and content via our API, is submitted to them on a daily basis, and they respond with their analysis, which comes back in a structured format. So we're kind of using Spotfire and Spotfire Server as a central aggregation point to connect with all these different APIs.
Okay. And then there's a question about the data warehouse. So you're basically leaving that all this data in that database, a data warehouse, and then you're layering over that with Spotfire, correct?
Correct. So the way we have one large data warehouse where all the raw data gets stored, and then on a daily basis, I think it's daily, but that would be a more technology question, but multiple times we go ahead and aggregate it into the tables specific to the business questions that we get asked. The advantage around that structure is that sometimes new questions evolve, algorithms changing, consumption behaviors are changing, and then we can go back and look at the raw data and aggregate that as well. So we have this two-layered approach. One is really the raw storage, and then the aggregation that happens much more in a real-time Spotfire connected approach.
Okay.
And again, just to this example, we're looking here at 220,000 rows of data. It's something you could never do in Excel, and something that most other solutions didn't give us the ability to easily go in and dive deep into it. So even we only see the kind of top layer corporate digital dashboard, all of these contain multiple sets of data internally where we can easily dive deeper and pull out the insights. So when somebody is asking which brands for sweets and candy is driving the most volume, we know which one it is. So we can then dig in and say, which channels is it composed of? So we then get the insight that most of the traffic is just coming through CRM. So being able to have this high level, but if required, being able to go deeper is really the strength of it.
Okay. The person that asked that question was very impressed by your answer, by the way, Ben. So good job.
Thank you, person.
Okay, guys. You got the expert on the phone. Ask your questions.
While they're all typing away, I think one more important thing to point out is really the ability to, even in Spotfire itself, to connect two sets of data, which is really hard these days, the way you get different data, if it's from set-top boxes all the way down to the last click action. The ability to kind of merge and mesh up that data, even in Spotfire, on the fly without any programming or development, is really what helps us when we get new sources and new data and just want to literally copy and paste it into it.
Yeah, all your stuff you're bringing up just tied right into my value drivers and differentiators, which I brought up, kick this whole thing off with, so that was good.
I think really the key thing in terms of the value drivers for us is we are more efficient and are able to spend the time more in analysis and recommendations and less in QA and data collection.
Question here. What is the level of effort to bring all the components together into one data set before Spotfire takes over? I guess that's maybe on the data warehouse side.
It's on the data warehouse, but it's a lot of it we actually do inside of Spotfire itself. So when let's say we pull in one data set, which is from Google Analytics, which is key phrases and visits, and you pull in another data set that might be from AdWords, which is interest and the volume, you can easily, with one mouse click, join these two tables together.
Right.
So this is really one of the things and you can do it on the scale of, here we did it on the scale of 220,000. If you ever try to do a VLOOKUP of 220,000 rows, it gets a little bit hairy.
Right.
And again, once I have made these connections, the data sources, the content is interchangeable, and I can easily share that new kind of created model within my organization. And we have over 30 internal analysts using this on a daily basis. So it's really important for us that I can create this dashboard, give it to another analyst, and he can load in his own data.
Yeah, so standardized templates, and that, like you said, cuts down the time to actually build out the analysis files. And like you said, you focus more of your effort on analyzing the data and making decisions versus, aggregating and building up everything to make those decisions. So we found companies that instead of, spending 80% of their time actually aggregating and building up the data store and then, having the analysis files ready for doing the analysis, and then 20% of the time doing analysis, it's reverse. They're able to basically spend 80% of their time actually, or 90% of their time actually doing the real work, what they're really, the high value work of doing the analysis of the data.
Yeah, that was the biggest driver for us. And again, if we would be right now on a client call and they would say, how is my organic change? We can always easily just dive into the data and say, and again, we're doing this literally on the fly, but we can always dive in and then say, okay, how has this historically changed? So it's a lot of really on-the-fly work that can be done. But we can easily say now historically, you know, we can change it around, we can adjust it, we can look at the different volumes without any kind of reprogramming and reloading of the data. Any other questions I can answer as it relates to this research?
That's about all I have now as far as coming in through the Q&A box here. Oh, thanks for a great presentation. All right. All right, Ben. Wonderful. For those of you, I got a lot of questions. Some of your colleagues or customers, partners are we're not able to make this call, so we are going to have this up on our online events page under recorded webcasts, and I think it's also going to be available from the Catalyst website too. So you guys can, and you also get an email out thanking you for attending, and you can forward that on to anyone that was not able to attend. And Brett, can you pass, or Ben, can you just go to the last slide just so people have and look at our wonderful mug shots and see our email addresses?
Yes.
So just send us an email if you have any questions.
Ben McGraw, you've been enabled to share that slide.
Oh, I have? Okay. This is us. So let's know if you have any questions.
Right now, sorry.
Oh, you can't? Okay. All right. Anyway, so this is us. Contact us if you have any questions. Again, very exciting area within digital marketing. I'm sure you guys might have some follow-up questions, so we're happy to answer that. And with that, I'd like to again thank Ben, and we will talk to you later on the next webcast.
Awesome. Thank you, Ben.
Okay. Thank you. Bye-bye, everyone.